And Richard Pell.
Good afternoon. My name is Gil Oliveira. Today I speak on behalf of a museum that doesn't exist yet. I'm here with Dr. Nicolas Kramar, the director of the Nature Museum of Valais in Switzerland. I would like to thank the NATIS group and the organizers for giving me the opportunity to talk about my project, which consists of creating a new museum, a museum of post-natural history. So let's start with this concept of post-natural history. I took this photo in 2018 at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There was an exhibition about the Anthropocene, and people could walk around and discover various topics such as climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, and the post-natural. As you can see, the main specimen of this topic was a goat that looks no different from regular goats, but this is one of the most extreme examples of the post-natural. This is a transgenic specimen. It has been genetically modified to grow spider silk proteins in its milk. As you may know, spider silk can be very, very strong and flexible at the same time. So researchers, companies, militaries they hope that they will be able to produce much larger quantities of spider silk in this manner, in that case by breeding the so-called biosteel goats. So this is a post-natural organism. The term post-natural includes organisms that have been intentionally and heritably altered, modified by people through processes such as domestication, selective breeding, genetic engineering, and more recently, synthetic biology. The goat was a loan from the Center for Post-Natural History, a very small museum also located in Pittsburgh. This museum tries to highlight the existence of this type of organisms that might be quite difficult to comprehend because they blur the line between nature and culture. So this was the general background for my project. I wanted to do something similar in Switzerland. So I'll skip the details, but I approached the director of the center, and together we ended up founding the Museum of PostNatural History, the Musée d'Histoire post-naturelle in French, in 2019. And we decided to, of course, use the same concept, but also the same logo and graphic design. We also decided to share objects from our collections. At the time, I didn't have any object, I didn't have anything, so of course this was very generous of him, and it was also an early form of collaboration. Anyway, the first step to launch this project was to use one of his traveling exhibitions he had made in the past and to display it in Switzerland in the name of the future Swiss Museum. So here I was knocking at the door of natural history museums and other cultural institutions to see if anyone was interested in hosting this exhibition. And finally, what happened was even better. And here I will let Nicolas explain the context of what happened and the collaboration that was created.
Thank you, Gil. Behind this very interesting topic, I think it's a very interesting topic, there is also a story of collaboration between institutions, and maybe I can say at two levels. We will see soon the way we collaborate between this center and my museum, but behind this, in fact, Gil was, it is because my previous collaboration with the Carnegie Natural History Museum, and especially Eric Dorfman, who used to be the former NatHist president, because we used to work, and we're still working on the Anthropocene, and it was because this collaboration, in fact, Gil was looking for an internship overseas in USA, and I phoned Eric and said, do you have an internship for someone that is very good? And that's because he was in Pittsburgh. He discovered and developed by itself this idea. That's behind the scene. So for my museum, the collaboration we set up was totally in my cultural policy, because my museum, my naturalist museum, has a goal to deal with the relationship between the society and their environment. That's why since many years I've been working on the Anthropocene, and maybe some of you know about it because I made many presentations on this topic at the NatHist. And in fact, because there was this project, we said, okay, that's the fantastic topic, and it's a perfect topic to think of a relation to nature, to the environment. So we decided not just simply show those traveling exhibitions, but to produce a new project that perfectly fits in our cultural policy.
So what we ended up doing is a new exhibition that is produced by the Nature Museum in Valais in collaboration with the Center for Post-Natural History in Pittsburgh. The exhibition, which will open soon in 2 months, is titled Artificial. It's a selection of post-natural stories. So each story, each specimen represents a point in a chronology of human-guided evolution. So the chronology starts with the very first domestication, the dog, followed by the dawn of agriculture around 10,000 years ago, and then it extends to the more recent organisms such as genetically modified mice, mosquitoes, plants, bacteria, and each of these specimens has a rich evolutionary history, but unlike specimens on display in a natural history museum, post-natural organisms may also be viewed as artifacts, artifacts of the culture that produced them, because they are embodiments of human needs and desires. So this cultural perspective is very important in the exhibition. Before we were talking about the historical context of the seeds that were transported. I think that's the same spirit. So this collaboration between the two museums was important for them, for each director, but also for me, for my project, because it serves as a springboard for opening the museum in many different ways. For example, and most importantly, it leads to the acquisition of new post-natural material. Here I put some examples of objects that I collected during the curation of the exhibition. It's very specific, but also it's the type of objects that I will say curators who will not, like traditional curators who will not necessarily seek or find. This collaboration also helped me to further explore the field of knowledge related to the post-natural. and it led to even more collaboration, because to get those objects, I needed to start talking to curators, researchers, and so on. So I will conclude just by saying that beyond the collection aspect, that is very important, the end goal is the audience. So we are very excited to see how the public will respond to this topic and the various issues that gravitate around. Thank you very much.
Okay.